Hello everybody and welcome back to Broken Berean, and surprise surprise, I've got some terrible or good news depending on how you look at it. First off, Sony is shutting down the studios behind Concord, which are Neon Koi and Firewalk, and have stated that Concord will not be returning as a free-to-play game. Now, this comes as no surprise to a lot of us, but some of us did suspect, like I actually kind of thought personally, that they may try to recoup some expenses by changing the modeling of some of the characters, changing their business model of the game to free-to-play, and doing microtransactions within. But let's kind of break this down and look at it from a lot of different things and what this means. Now, Sony bought Neon Koi back in 2022, give or take, and this is when they rebranded themselves. They used to be called Savage Games, I believe, and they produced some games up until about 2009. They were involved with various games and produced their own. But from 2009 to 2022, they didn't really do anything that I can find. And they rebranded to Neon Koi. And again, really didn't do anything. So I had no idea why Sony bought them in the first place, other than the fact that the obvious, if they own the studios, they own the rights to the games that they worked on. Which is funny, because of those games, they're like James Bond and a couple others. They worked on Battlefront 2, I believe, and a couple other games. They've really done nothing with them. So it's kind of like, yay, we got these properties. We're just going to put them on the shelf over here and just leave it be for now, and we'll get to it later, who knows. And then Firewalk Studios, they purchased them last year in 2003, and this was their big game that they were working on. And so these two studios were working on Concord. Now, the problem with Concord is manyfold, and I haven't really covered it all that much, just because it was mainly a PlayStation and PC game, but it was a live service game, which means you got to be on, you got to get with other players and all that. And the biggest problem is it was supposed to compete with games like Apex Legends and Fortnite. Well, both those games are free. I've got a copy of Fortnite on my Switch and my PC. I've played it probably a total of like an hour. I'm not really good at live service games. It's just not my cup of tea. But Concord was like $50-$70, give or take. And you're going to compete against free-to-play games with a game that costs $50-$70. Yeah, that was a bad move to begin with. That was never going to work. And the other is the rampant DEI and Sweet Baby Ink that was forced into it. And I didn't keep up the characters. These are probably the best looking characters in the game. These three right here. If you're playing a shooter game, live service, you don't want to be this giant target. And the other female character, I can't remember if it was supposed to be non-binary or not. No offense, but was as big as this bot here. And she was quite Rubenesque. I mean, Lizzo size. Pre-Ozempic. And I mean, you don't want to be a large target in a shooting game. So, and they did all this stuff about they pushed all this diversity and DEI stuff, and gamers were like, we just want to play a game, and we have characters that look cool. We want to shoot other people. And these are the characters we get to choose from. And they were just like, no. And it topped out at like, what, 1,000 players at most? This is worldwide. Worldwide. This is a huge release. It's supposed to be a Sony. This is supposed to bring Sony into this arena and make them tons of money. And they could get 1,000 people playing. Now, copies of this game, it's hilarious because there's a lot of people out there that are buying the physical PlayStation copies so they can have it as a trophy. I was just like, look, I have a copy of the worst video game flop in history. And I don't know exactly what they were thinking, but honestly, it was terrible. This was a massive game flop right out the gate. And it was just terrible. You couldn't, no one liked it. There are more people playing the beta than played the original game, than the game on release. They had I think 6,000 to 7,000 people playing the beta. And when it finally went live and the game was released, they couldn't get 1,000. That tells you that the majority of the people that played the beta didn't want to come back. And all the people that saw it were like, I'm not wasting my money. So this is what we would call an epic failure on a almost biblical proportion. I don't get it. But shutting down these studios and canceling the game forever is going to be a huge hit to Sony. And because I don't know the exact numbers, they haven't been released. I've seen some gaming websites estimate that there was 300,000 to 400,000 for initial reporting numbers for the game pre-beta. And they did a lot of work between the beta and release. And so realistically, it could have been $500,000 at least for this game, and 1,000 active players. That gets you 1% net sales. 1% of your money back. 1%. That doesn't cover cost. Doesn't cover future investments. And it's things like this and these decisions that are causing these AAA games to fail so much that they're wanting to do messaging versus over putting together a good game that gamers want to play. Now, right off the bat, I was not going to play it because of the style of game. I wasn't going to play it. But when I saw the characters and I saw what was going on behind the scenes and all this stuff, and I was like, if this was just a single player game where you had to fight and do all that stuff, I still wouldn't even play the demo. Like, it would have been, to me, it just looked horrific. And I'm glad to see something that was just so well designed to actually fail, and not keep pushing it. And they did their press release, and it's the nice ways. This is a nice little statement that says, we're closing the studios. Concord won't be back. It's going to be gone. We're shelving the project forever. And this is the nice way we consistently evaluate our games portfolio and status of our projects to ensure we are meeting near and long-term business priorities. They said these two companies didn't make us money. They cost us a fortune. So you're gone. And for a studio like Neon Koi that to my recollection, is from what I can find, 15 years of existence and no product till Concord. No project title associated with them until Concord. I believe it was some sort of, there was the co-founder of Neon Koi and Savage Games. One of the original founders left, and the second co-founder, gosh, I forgot his name now. But the only thing I can find on him is he did some speech on AI in game development. A speech, he gave a talk. And that's it. I mean, nothing. I mean, how do you do that? How do you exist for 15 years and not make anything? I mean, these guys don't even have mobile game apps. I mean, something. Nope. So, Sony made two big problems with purchasing these companies. And hopefully, maybe they'll reevaluate some of the stuff that they acquired the intellectual rights for when they bought Neon Koi, Savage Games previously, and do something with them. Because right now, they're just basically saying, yeah, we're done. These studios are gone. Everyone that works for them, gone. Game, gone. And I think this has to be a learning experience for Sony to realize that we don't want this. I mean, Ubisoft is another one that I've talked about before, that they are teetering on the edge of completely disappearing. And we don't know what's going to happen. We're just kind of watching what's going to happen with Ubisoft. But Sony is a much larger company, but if this division keeps losing money, I mean, you can't do that. I mean, they made Astrobot, which did amazing numbers. So good, it's actually tempted me to want to get a PS5 just to play it. Because it's only on PlayStation. It's not even on PC. You can only play it on PlayStation. But it looks so much fun. Looks like a good game. Did Concord do that for me? Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. So, focus on games that people want. So you make money. Gamers will buy them. Have fun. Get to enjoy gaming. To dive into fun and suspension of the world around them and enjoy gaming again. So hopefully Sony makes good use of what they've had to do to course correct some of their bigger decisions on what games they greenlight and who they put in charge of those products. But we'll just have to see if Sony learns their lessons from this or not. Because some studios have not. Ubisoft has not. And it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. So this is a win for gamers and a loss for Sony. So us gamers will take the W and look for games that are fun for us. Whether that means we have to go retro or not, fine. But we're going to find the games we want to play that are fun. And if you don't make them, we're not going to buy them. We warned you, if you say that phrase, if you don't like it, don't buy it, is a death sentence to games. Because every time that's mentioned, go look it up. If you see someone say, like, if you don't like it, don't buy it. And then they get mad when we don't buy it. Well, make a game we want and we'll buy it. I'm not buying a hot pink Tesla, that's for sure. I'm not buying a Tesla, period. But I mean, if they made one hot pink, I wouldn't buy it. That's not for me. That's not the demographic of Tesla owners. Games like this are not the demographic for average gamers. This is for a very minute section of gamers. I'm not saying don't make it, but don't sink a fortune into it that you can never recoup from your audience that will purchase it. If your audience size is 1,000, you shouldn't make a game that costs $500,000. Just saying. So until next time, my friends, as always, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.